I think it's just going to get weirder and weirder and weirder, and finally it's going to be so weird that people are going to have to talk about how weird it is. Eventually people are going to say, what the hell is going on? It's not enough to say it's nuts. You have to explain why it's so nuts. The invention of artificial life, the cloning of human beings, possible contact with extraterrestrials, the systems which are in place to keep the world sane are utterly inadequate to the forces that have been unleashed.
Welcome back to Forbidden Knowledge News. I'm your host, Chris Matthew. Today my guest is Aman Berry. We are having our film fundraiser for movie number 3. It's going to be a little different than the previous ones. It's going to be a sci-fi comedy mockumentary featuring myself and many of your favorite researchers, authors, and content creators. If you'd like to make a donation, please use the link in the description. Anything is greatly appreciated. Our films are completely self-funded with the help of your kind donations. Be sure and check out my previous films. Doors of Perception is on Amazon Prime. I'll Call It Louisiana is on Tubi, Roku, Apple, and a few more. We're booking guests for February. If you have suggestions or you'd like to be a guest, email me forbiddenknowledgenews@gmail.com. Today I want to welcome Aman Berry. He is a lifelong martial artist who uses Kung Fu to help his clients reduce pain, release trauma, and clear negative unseen influences. He is also a paranormal researcher and lifelong student of unexplained phenomena. Aman, welcome. How you doing?
I'm so good. Thank you for having me on. It's great to be here.
It's great to have you, man. You've been a paranormal researcher for a very long time. You're trained in Taoist exorcism. I'm really looking forward to sharing your insights into paranormal phenomena, which you've studied through an Eastern spiritual lens, which is often fundamentally different than our Western spiritual beliefs. So again, really looking forward to learning all about this. Before we do, this is your first time on. Tell us a little bit about yourself and let the audience know how they can find out more.
Okay. Well, my name's Aman. On YouTube, I'm at the Shambhala Dojo is my YouTube channel, at sifuamanberry. You can also reach me at sifuamanberry@gmail.com. And essentially, I use Kung Fu, Qigong, as well as other approaches to help my clients reduce pain, release trauma, and clear negative unseen influences, because in my model, they're all connected. And we can get into that more. But yeah, they're all extensions of the same thing. So essentially, I think that there is a missing perspective in this discussion that I'd like to at least do my best to fill those shoes.
Excellent, man. Well, I'm really looking forward to that. Let's start with a little bit of your background, how you got involved with these practices, maybe some early experiences.
Okay. Well, when I was younger as a child, I had some paranormal encounters that were kind of traumatic. I don't usually get into that too much, but it did spur me on a journey to figure out what was going on with my own situation, as well as to help as many other people as I can. And I've started actively helping people since I was, we'll call it 18. It was honestly before. But I've been doing this for a long time. I have some testimonials here that I'm prepared to share as well. And none of this is to like make me look good. One of my biggest points and one of the biggest things, the reason that I don't even want to talk publicly. I'm just going to be honest. I'm doing this for the people that I help, because there is a community of people who are suffering in silence, so afraid to talk about what's going on in their house because they're afraid to be labeled crazy, that they feel like they don't have a voice, and that, you can't call 911 when you're being horrifically abused by negative entities in the same way that you can if someone breaks in. You have to go through the long, arduous process of finding a team, if you even are lucky enough to do so, researching online, going through all the usual steps, and usually not even really being able to bring it to resolution, even after all of that. And, these people don't feel safe in their own homes. And part of my mission and why I do my paranormal rescue operations, where I proactively find people on message boards who are reporting help, and I offer them that help. Yeah, I kind of got carried away, but like that's the reason I'm here.
Right on. I know you don't talk about your early experiences too much, but not getting into any detail, could you tell us a little bit about what happened, basically?
Yeah. Okay. When I was younger, I was exposed to paranormal phenomena at a young age, around 12, due to some traumas that I was exposed to made me vulnerable to it. And phenomena such as doors being kicked open in my house, windows being violently opened and shut, things being thrown at me, apparitions, cold spots, the faucet being turned from hot to cold, cuts, like the whole nine. Yeah. I'm just gonna be honest, like it's hard for me to talk about.
Well, how long did you experience that for?
Yeah. So it took me about 4 years to get a handle on it, until I was like 16. I had some help. My first help was with the Native American tribes. Then I had some help with the Christian tradition. Then I studied Kabbalistic exorcism. Then I studied Taoist exorcism, which is kind of where I landed. But I'm familiar with most of the models.
Was there anything in particular that got you involved with researching besides your own experiences? Did you just want to help other people at some point?
Some people like to use the term like calling, and I think that's part of it. The other part of it was like having gone through these experiences and found at least some solutions that had some effect. I realized that I'm not alone out there, and as scared as I was to be labeled crazy, I'm sure all these other people are as well. So I kind of made it my mission. It's like, there's some little good thing that I could do. It manifested differently over the course of the years. But over the course of the years, I've been able to accumulate a decent amount of evidence to support my claim, a decent amount of testimonials, which we'll get into. I'm sure that's why I'm here. My evidence, which was by design. But yeah, I think letting the evidence speak, letting the client speak, is far more important than anything I have to say.
Well, earlier you mentioned your model of paranormal phenomena based on everything you've experienced in your teachings. Talk a little bit about your understanding of what we're dealing with here.
Yeah, of course. So in order for me to actually talk about what we're dealing with, would it be okay if we went through some of the evidence that I prepared? Okay, awesome. Because I need to screen share, and it says I can't.
Turn your screen share on. Give me 1 second. There you go. You're good to go.
Okay. Yeah, we're just gonna pretend like I know how to do this. Okay. So we have. I'm gonna start us light. But this is my miscellaneous folder. Then we're gonna explore all of these cases here. These are cases. I have a whole bunch of cases. These are my best. These are the best evidence folder. All client information has been removed. All photos of the clients, except for one who's given consent, has been removed. But I figure we'll start light, and we'll start with what we're talking about. So for the purpose of this discussion, can we agree that we're talking about I'm just going on my flow. Okay. We're talking about a parasitic phenomena that engages in possession to maximize their connection to this realm. Would you agree with that?
That sounds accurate to me.
Okay. They feed off fear and blood sacrifice through energetic amplification and adrenochrome. I'm sure your audience can follow that, right?
Yeah.
They can extract life force, as indicated by numerous victim reports. They use occult techniques like astral projection and biosigilization. Big props to Nathaniel Gillis for his work there. They're more active during the night and the day, indicating an aversion to sunlight. That's not always the case, but it's sometimes the case. They focus on bodily fluids. We can get creative, but all the body of fluids in order to aid in manifestation. They can implant negative thoughts and voices. different cultures have different names for the same phenomena: demons, jinn, reptilians, gray, chitauri, hopabawa, kanishibara. You keep going, but they're all cultural descriptors of a similar phenomena, which we'll get to. They can manipulate and replicate our reality. That's the work of Steve Mera. And the next one as well, use reports as quantum anchors, and they engage in the vexation cycle. So for those of you who don't know, in poltergeist phenomena, the vexation cycle is when they will deliberately oppress someone emotionally, energetically, or through phenomena in order to cause a fear response, an energetic output of fear or a hormonal manifestation of fear.
Interesting.
In order to then feed on and generate that entity so that it can create more phenomena, hence the term cycle, vexation cycle, right? They are repelled by the frequency of pure love, which according to the Institute of Heart Math, I believe, is 0.01 to 0.10 hertz emanated by our own hearts. They are repelled by hematite and iron, which disrupt the electromagnetic fields locally to the environment, making it harder for them to come through. That's the work of Steve Mera and Nathaniel Gillis. And the work of Robert Bruce is running water countermeasures. And that's something really important to talk about when you combine that with the work of Masaru Emoto from Japan, how human intent can imprint on water. That leads us to a series of countermeasures that are all based around interrupting the measurable electromagnetic field in a local given environment. Following so far?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Now that we got that out of the way, I don't want to get into that right now. So all of these combined form a parasitic model of phenomena. So I guess since you're interested in it, can I share a little bit more from my notes? Okay. So these notes are from my upcoming Qigong instructor course, because part of Qigong, you have to know exorcism as part of that, in my view. So this is just a little tidbit, little snapshot of it. This is the investigation process that I go through. You interview. So you interview everyone who has interacted with the alleged phenomena and focus on who, what, where, why, basic stuff. After the interview, you do evidence collection. Investigate the area with all available equipment, and we can talk about what that is: EMF detectors, digital photography, thermal photography, full spectrum cameras, infrasound detectors. I mean, how fancy you want to get depends on your budget, really. Then I always close with space clearing, which is where we teach the clients how to clear their space using the techniques listed below, generally hematite, some sort of heart coherence meditation, and the application of charged water into the environment to disrupt the local magnetic fields. Right on. So we'll go into the phenomena types a little bit. It's teaching. Imprints. So imprints, also known as death echoes, also known as residual hauntings, are charged emotional scenes that replay in haunted environments on a loop. They're evidence that physical matter they're evidence that physical matter can be stained by human emotion in ways we don't fully understand. That even applies. So let's say a murder happens in a room, and that murder scene plays on a loop for people, but there's no actual interaction or engagement with the phenomena, and it doesn't interact in a way that is intelligent. That is what would classify that as an imprint. Then we have our mini cryptids, right? Anomalous or cosmic beings with a metaphysical dimension to their existence and can be contacted based on telepathic and image-based communication. Now I sound crazy. But if you look at the evidence, especially the work of Doc Simeon Hine, there is something to that. Then we have hungry ghosts, which is also known as wraiths, also known as ghosts, the echoes, remnants, but they are the remnants of the deceased human personality. Whether or not the level of intelligence kind of varies, but they usually manifest in the stages of manifestation, communication, and dissipation. And that is from the work of Ed and Lorraine Warren. I know. But one of their biggest contributions to the field is their model of phenomena going in infestation, oppression, and possession. And I'll let you know why in a moment. So then we have our devas, celestials, or angels, or the positive beings that are contacted during CE5. Generally giving positive outcomes. In my Eastern model, we call them devas as a general blanket term. Now, keep in mind, this is not a classical understanding. This is my filtered and bastardized understanding of
No, I love it, because in my understanding and my perspective, you have to take bits and pieces of everything. Our understanding of this phenomena has been so diluted over the years that there are so many crossovers that are being separated because one field of research wants to keep it a certain way and gatekeep the phenomena, and they prevent a better understanding coming across by doing that.
So now I want to get into the infection process a little bit. And since we're looking at this parasitic model, we're going to draw on the research of Ed and Lorraine Warren in their infestation, oppression, and possession model with my take on it, with a little bit of Nathaniel Gillis's work thrown in there. And I'm always very clear, like, I will not take credit for work that is not my own. So I've been accused of like over giving credit to people, but I'd rather tend in that direction than claim something that is not my own.
Yeah.
So that being said, infestation, or the astral parasites, are mutated parasitic forms of consciousness with the mindset of serial killers who create, amplify, and use the vibrations of human fear, lust, and anger to create a, quote, mortal portal, Nathaniel Gillis, to enter our world. They operate in three distinct concurrent stages of infestation, oppression, and possession, and Lorraine Warren. The infestation stage is where phenomena will include throwing, deceptive manifestation, and what I mean by that is they will often pretend to be things other than what they are at this point. They will take the form of something you connect to, take the form of something that's connected to your story, oftentimes manifesting as children, manifesting as guides. That's kind of an attempt to probe the water. Common phenomena as well is rapping, usually in patterns of three. I see that all the time. Scratching on the wall. That's all indicative of stage one stuff. And stage one, at least from what I can tell, is designed for them to identify and hone in on who they're going to target for parasitism. Once that's what stage one is all about. The purpose of stage one is target identification. Once they have identified a vulnerable host that can be they can link in through energetic vibration, then they will begin the oppression stage. During the oppression stage, the negative entity selects, attaches to, and grooms a compatible human host. Fear and psychological submission is the main focus of this stage. There are two types of oppression: internal and external. Internal includes experiencing negative voices, visions, compulsions, nightmares, the whole nine yards. External oppression is a full-blown assault on the physical environment with high-level phenomena, and it's high-level because of all the fear generated prior. That's what makes it able to be high-level, and that's why it can't just start in oppression.
Let me ask you something.
It has to happen. Hit me.
These negative beings that you're speaking of right now, is there anything in particular that attracts these beings to a person more than others? And I've heard this often. I want to dispel if this is true or not, that if you are operating at a high enough vibration and if you're emitting positive energy and love as much as possible, that these beings will be repelled by that and you shouldn't have to worry about it.
So to the first part of your statement, yes. To the second part of your statement, no. Yes, if you vibrate high enough, you will have a natural shielding and repellent. That doesn't mean you don't have to worry about it. So let's talk about why that is. Do you mind if I go on a little rant?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Assuming that we don't have to worry about it comes from a state of hubris, arrogance, almost. These things are smart. Even if you're in a high vibrational state, do you think they don't have tricks to bring you out of that state?
Yeah.
Do you think they don't have tricks to remind you of your worst memories? You don't think that they'll bring about situations to cause stress externally? So, like, having that attitude of, like, because I'm vibrating high enough, I don't have to be aware of the greater ecosystem that includes these negative forces. Yeah. I kind of struggle with that. That being said, amplifying high vibrations is one of our three primary practices. So, yes, absolutely there's a shielding element, but let's not underestimate the intelligence and craftiness of our adversaries. And I'll get into that more later.
Yeah, and on the other end of that, if you're in a negative state of mind constantly and say you're doing illicit drugs or behavior that is keeping you in a negative state, that would definitely attract these beings, right?
Oh, 100%. 100%. They target people who are in states of depression, states of addiction, particularly methamphetamine. I've tried. You ever tried doing exorcism of someone on meth? It's not easy. It's not easy. Wouldn't recommend it. But like these things can amplify, and it makes extraction much more difficult. And I think more in terms of extraction and parasitic removal. And the model I look at is like almost clinical, because my background, one of my backgrounds is massage therapy. So I have a like injury recovery model that I can draw upon here a little bit. So that's what kind of influences how I think about this. But can I finish my thing about the infection process? Yeah. Okay. So if the purpose of the infestation stage is to get us to is to get them to identify a target, the purpose of the oppression stage is to break down the target's will. But what does that actually mean? Let's talk about what that, and why would that be important? What it actually is in my mind, if this hand is the target, a normal human, maybe slightly depressed, this hand is the entity. They're outside of vibrational alignment. So they have to go into the part that is in alignment and chip and chip and chip and chip and chip and chip until vibrational alignment can happen. Yeah. And then boom, right? So our work as exorcists is to disconnect, unchip, raise the vibration until the entity no longer has access to the host. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So if oppression is about getting them to a place of vibrational cohesion where it can happen, possession is what they're actually trying to do. Now, are you familiar with the work of Steve Merr's most recent work and Nathaniel Gillis about how apports can be quantum anchors?
Fascinating.
You're familiar with that? Okay. So my argument is that possession is one of the biggest manifestations of that phenomena, turning us into the quantum anchor ourselves.
For those that may not be familiar, could you briefly explain what an apport is?
Okay. We got some foundation to lay. Okay. Sometimes in haunted environments, there are things called apports and asports. Apportation and asportation. Apportation is when something is removed from an environment, and often apportation is when it's removed and brought back. Asportation, from my understanding, is when it's removed and not brought back, or something entirely different is brought in. Both of these phenomena have been reported in numerous case studies, including the Keith Linder Bothell Hell House, the Enfield hauntings, the Thornton Heath poltergeist, many others. It's cross-contextual among the phenomena, and I got to give credit where credit's due. Nathaniel Gillis and Steve Merra finding out that apports are likely quantum anchors, that's a big deal. But if we take that further, okay, so what do I mean by that? So if these things appear into an environment, when I say quantum anchor, I just assume everyone knows what that means, but let's not assume that. From our best understanding, whatever this phenomena is, exists outside of reality as we know it. And it can be accessed through what we have colloquially called the quantum realm, but it's kind of a catch-all term. The actual quantum is the term for the space that holds molecules and atoms and below in the level of scale, right? So at that level of scale, we're talking about things that are outside of our point of existence. Now, Eastern concepts actually have terms for that. There are classifications of quasi-physical, semi-physical. In certain forms of Buddhism, they look at it like physical is an ice cube, water is the quasi-physical state, and steam is like pure quantum awareness. So that being said, the quantum field is essentially what we're saying is the membrane that whatever this intelligence uses to break through into our reality. And in order to do that, one could almost think of it like a rock climber putting a tether in a wall. One could think of it like that. The apport or quantum anchor is the tether put in the rock that holds them in place. Because without it, they would have a much harder time. Then it could be like, I would imagine it would be much more like freehand rock climbing.
Yeah.
You know? So we have our 3 stages of infestation, oppression, and possession. We have our parasitic model, which we've covered. Let's go into exorcism techniques a little bit. Are you familiar with cymatics?
A little bit.
Okay. So cymatics is essentially when certain tones or sounds are put through a speaker with a plate or board of sand on it. The sand or water will create a coherent shape. Now, mantras are known to create cymatic shapes as well. So if we tap into our heart frequency and chant a mantra, and you can make it in line with your tradition. You can do Om. If you're Christian, Amen. If you're Muslim, Ameen. Like, get creative. Like, do it in a way that suits you. But when you're doing that, you're tapping into not only the electromagnetic energy of your own heart through heart coherence, which I will teach everyone how to get to at the end of this. We're also tapping into cymatics. Then we have our iron and our hematite that we use to disrupt the electromagnetic fields that are being used for manifestation. And then we have our consecrated water, which is essentially blessed water moved through the environment, used to break up standing electromagnetic waves of active phenomena, if that makes sense. That was a lot.
No, that's perfect. Before we get too much further, you had mentioned a person's belief system and how it may affect the exorcism. You mentioned the chanting. If a Christian was chanting, they may do it a certain way.
Yeah.
How much does a person's belief affect the way the exorcism is going to play out?
As much as they let it. As much as they let it. I try to keep, so my personal thing is I will align myself with the belief system of the client because I'm looking at this almost through a therapeutic model. So whatever, I honestly look at it like colored, like food coloring, like food dyes. That's like, and I know a lot of people get mad at me for this, but I don't have the luxury of like diving into belief systems and hierarchical structures. Like, my focus is helping people.
Yeah. Right on.
Right. So I'll just be like, how I look at it in terms of almost in the addiction literature, like, you have a higher power. What is your higher power? We'll use that. I look at it and, you know, as someone engaged in that community, I think there's a lot of power in having an individual higher power concept, but I'm not here to preach.
Right on.
Okay, so now I want to show you some evidence, and then I want to get through one testimonial, and then I'll go through a protection process for everyone, and then we'll see where we're at. Is that okay?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay, so we'll start small and we'll go from there. Okay, we'll start with some of the lighter stuff. So I'm going to give some context to each one. Okay, so this was taken from one of my clients in Oklahoma who we have. I think she'd be okay with me. Yeah, she would be okay because she's put that publicly. She was experiencing assaults of an intimate nature from entities for over a decade, which me and my team were able to stop and get it into low stage 1 phenomena where it manifests in very small, very reduced ways, and those intimate assaults no longer occur, which I'm very proud of. This entity was caught on their backyard security tape. You're going to see it come across the fence as a nebulous shadow mass, and let's just run it.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. So if we pause it here, you can see. Let me see if I can pause it right. Okay, you can see it's kind of outlined here. Now, we're just getting started. Okay, don't be too impressed by that. Here we have another one
Now, for the audience that's
That
listening on the audio end, if you'd
yeah.
like to see these videos that we're showing right now, come over to YouTube or Rumble.
So here we can. This is from one of my clients in England, and you'll see a shadow mass move up the right side of the wall. Hopefully, you'll be able to see it better this time.
Yes.
Did you see that right there? The start.
Yes. Wow.
One more time.
It's just like sliding up the wall.
Slide up. Oh, we're just warming up. So here, we'll get to that in a minute. This one's really fun. Not fun. This one, it's interesting. Watch the 45-minute mark. We'll just get to it because watch behind his door right here.
Right here. I'm not scared though.
See that shadow form behind his door, peeking out the wall right here.
Interesting.
Right. Yeah. So we got a lot more like this. But I wanted to share this one as well. You know how they've been talking about how these entities can manifest as little grays sometimes? I was able to catch a manifestation of that in Connecticut. Shit. Not Connecticut. Where was it? Ohio. So Midwest somewhere. But notice this was taken on a static security cam that people had left up over the course of the evening in order to document phenomena. And if you'll notice, this is what's most interesting. Note how it's not even as tall as the gate to guard the kids.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
That's interesting.
That is.
Right? Yeah. Okay. So here you can see its outline here, but you can see it almost has a cloven hoof formation down here, which indicates that it's in some sort of like partial manifestation. Right?
That's crazy.
So moving on. Okay, I figure we will leave our miscellaneous folder with a positive one. This is a UFO. It's only a minute long, but you see it.
Oh, look, there's two, right?
You see? I told you. I'm not crazy. Let's go back. No, wait, let's finish.
Up there. This was in Albuquerque.
Would you say that most of these orbs that people are seeing in the sky are what you would call positive?
I can't fucking record, Jennifer.
That's hard. That's hard. So I would say some of them are.
Look, and then that one might split. They've been doing that for a minute.
Wow.
You're gonna see a fourth one here in a minute. In a second.
Well, look how bright they are. Where?
Well, it just went away.
You see how they're fucking moving? Look, there's a fourth one right there.
I see.
Okay, so those are miscellaneous ones. Now we're going to go to individual cases, and I'm going to go from like least impressive to most impressive. Okay. So these were taken in Fire Trail Road. Here you can see an outline of an apparition. This is me, my hand right here. This is the edge of a lake. This orb manifested in the lake. This is me at the edge of the lake. This lake had been known for a lot of like people unexplainably crashing their cars into it after reporting some manifestation that appeared in the road that drove them into the lake. So I tried to do a clearing out there, and I did make contact with whatever being was there, and you can see it in its orb form as well as in its semi-materialized apparition form.
Yeah.
Right here. And here during the clearing ceremony, this light manifested behind me. There was no light at the time or point to, and it wasn't visible in that way. That's not a great one. The orb is here, but I promise you it was clear when we were there. This is another manifestation of that same nebulous apparition in a smoke form. This is Sadhu Dab, one of my partners, longtime friend. We do this together. I don't know if you've had him on yet, but he'd be worth talking to as well. So that was Fire Trail Road. Nothing crazy there, but I did want people to see the full body apparition outline right here. I did want people to see that. Now we'll go to something a little more interesting. Okay. So here we have a UFO phenomena over a house where demonic manifestations are also forming, which goes into Nathaniel Gillis and Steve Mayer's work about there being a connection between phenomena types. This green UFO, this is the roof of the house right here. Okay, that's whatever. Watch this. I to this day I have been able to I have tried to debunk this. Everyone out there, be my guest.
And it's worth recording high level phenomena, shadow mass in a corner of the wall that grows. Yeah.
Wait for it.
Tripping down the wall.
Proceed and grow.
Huh.
It's not normally there.
I believe you.
Wait for it.
What's the let's keep this party afraid. Yeah. Wait, well. Making a poll. Let's take a poll.
See how it's spreading out
Yeah,
across.
that says.
It's covering the entire wall.
It is a very good phenomenon.
Wow.
Good for it to happen, but
So we actually needed to get help from a Theravada Buddhist monk to help that woman out with her attachment situation. We were able to help her with it, but one thing of note about that particular case is that phenomena is often known to come through the corners, and I think there might be like geometrical reasons for that we don't fully understand yet. Here we have kind of my the things I'm most proud of, and we'll start slow. So this case is called Ghost Cat because the apparition of this cat was sent to me first. This was the first piece of evidence, the apparition of this translucent cat. So here we have a shadow. Yeah. So I called this case Ghost Cat. Ghost Cat ended up just being a demon, but don't. Yeah, it was not a real cat.
Interesting.
Yeah, but so during that clearing, a ball manifest. We were doing a cleansing ceremony. Me and Saruda. Here we have an orb manifesting during the cleansing ceremony, and here we have it moving intelligently out. Right. So that's all warm up for this. Okay, let me give you some context. This is a standing mirror, and behind it, the client said that she experienced a snake-like, black-like, fluid-like mass that was harassing her just south of Cleveland. I went there in person with Sadra. We cleansed it out. But just check this out. Wait till the end. Boom.
Whoa.
Okay. Watch.
That's crazy.
Boom.
Yeah.
And watch it shapeshift. Boom. Right there. That tells us a lot of information about their nature, right? It is actively trying to decide what form it's going to take, and it's almost ink-like, like a squid almost. So you can see it here.
Wow.
Boom. We'll run it one more time. You can see it peeking out from around the corner. It's trying to figure out what's going on. And bam.
Wow.
I like to pause right there. Okay. So that, when you're asking me, what are we protecting people from? That. Whatever the heck that is. Whatever that is what we're protecting people from. To the best of my knowledge, they're a form of parasite. A form of parasite that bleeds through this dimension, and like, you're familiar with the work of Robert Monroe and Loosh? Yeah. They okay. For those God, that's a whole thing.
That's all right, man. We got time.
Okay. It's another term for the energy that they siphon off of us. There are many terms for it, but experientially, after an attack by a being such as that, you'll feel drained, you'll feel fearful, and it'll probably only get worse from there if intervention is not done. So, if you're open to it, can I take us through a
Of
protection
course, yeah,
process?
man.
Okay. So, without getting too much into the details of it, the Institute of Heart Math has proven that the human heart is an electromagnetic battery with that is measurable up to 8 feet
Hmm.
away, minimum. Like you can actually go farther than that, believe it. It actually can go a lot farther than that. But for the purposes of right now, we have the ability to protect our own field, right? What do we know about these parasitic beings? We know that they want to bring us into a state of low vibration. We know that they want to make us fearful. We know that they not no, let me say that again. They need us. They need us to be
Hmm.
fearful. They don't just want, they absolutely need it. So if we have and based on the evidence I showed, there it's pretty clear that there's an electromagnetic component. They're like standing clouds of electromagnetic energy. So if we have our own electromagnetic battery and the ability to emanate a frequency that is counter to that of them, which is zero point zero 0.01 to zero point 0.10 hertz, the state of heart coherence, and it's so simple to get there. If in the midst of a psychic attack or paranormal intrusion, if we can focus more on generating and emitting that heart coherence energy, then I call it the sideshow that they're putting around. It's a sideshow. It's a
Hmm.
distraction. Don't be distracted by it. Don't. I'm getting in my flow. Don't let him
Yeah.
get to you. Right. So it's so simple, and I'm just going to guide us all through it right now. So if you're driving, operating machinery, or in a position where you obviously shouldn't do something with your eyes closed, don't do it. We're going to be doing this at a rate and speed that should be applicable for everyone. If you have a heart condition, don't breathe heavily. We're just going to take it nice and slow, and we're just going to notice what feels different before and after, okay? So, are you willing to,
Yes,
to
I will
join
be
me in
joining.
this? Okay, awesome. So let's sit back in our chair and place one hand on our heart palm and feel. Just take a moment, let the breathing slow. I'm talking to myself because I got worked up there. Let the breathing slow. Breathe into the belly, breathe into the chest, in through the nose, out through the mouth, gently and slowly. Feeling the warmth of the hand on the heart. And all I do, and want you to do now is think of one of the best times in your life. It can be a place in nature, it can be a good memory, but you can do this eyes open or eyes closed. But together, let's just place our hand on our heart and really tap into that good memory. For me, it was when I was in Paris under the Eiffel Tower eating ice cream. That brings a sense, yeah, whatever brings a sense of warmth and joy to your heart. You might notice that as you smile on your face, you might feel a little smile in your heart as well. And allow that smile in your heart to expand from your heart as a point of the brightest light that you've ever seen in your life. Brighter than the LED lights in Vegas, brighter than those headlights, to surround your body in a halo of protective bright light connected to that positive emotion and that love. And together, let's breathe that love in through the nose, out, full and deep. Don't be afraid to look silly. I do. Sigh it out. Let all the stress go. Breathe in the love. Last one. Refocus on the heart. Refocus on those good feelings. Put yourself back in that good memory. Let yourself relive all the aspects of it. Feel what the weather felt like. Feel the wind on your skin. See the floor around you. Really tap into the heart of what made that moment one of the best moments for you. And then again, allow those feelings to expand as a point of light and just scan your body head to toe and notice what feels different. So do a quick body scan and what feels different. How do you feel, Chris?
Man, I feel much lighter. I was getting the tingly feelings like you were
Yep.
saying. My legs are tingling a little bit and I feel
Yep,
happy.
normal. All
Yeah.
normal. So that's how we create a psychic shield non-religiously. Or religiously if you understand that the divine is pure love. then we don't want to have to get into that whole thing. But really, if you tap into the frequency of pure love, allow that to expand as a point of light from around you, and just breathe with that minimum of 30 if you want to really get a feeling. I do 3 sets of 45 myself. That's too much for a lot of these people. But it's something that you can build up, and it's not just for psychic protection. You can use it for trauma release. You can use it for stress control. You can use it for pain relief, and it's called heart breathing. I have I'm gonna have videos of it on my channel, but it's so simple. The 3 steps to get there: head on heart, relive a moment of love, see it as light around you. Boom, you have a shield.
A couple of more things I wanted to ask you about before we close out. Is there a way to definitively tell whether you're dealing with a positive or negative being?
Good question. Really good question. Okay, really good question. That's important. Can I get into this a little bit?
Do it.
Okay, yeah. That's tricky. That's tricky. Because a lot of beings will present a certain way in order to deceive or manipulate you, right? So here's what I like to do. There are things called active and passive countermeasures. Having a bunch of iron and hematite in your home is a passive countermeasure. Having wardings of various types, LED lights, UV lights, the whole thing. But beyond that, what I have found that if you create that heart frequency in you, negative beings cannot be around that. Like, period. So even if something's saying something to you, generate your heart shield, generate your psychic shield, and if it's still there and saying the same thing, and there is external cooperation, including EMF, and so okay, this is gonna get into. I'm gonna go off topic, but I'm gonna circle back. Okay, in my field, when I'm training my apprentices, I teach them about something called the rule of three. And the rule of three is that a true paranormal encounter usually has waves. Usually 3 incidents happen at once. So for instance, let's say that my light starts to flicker, the room gets cold, and then my phone is thrown across the room. Okay? 3 things happen there, each having a reason. The lights flickered because the being was drawing electromagnetic energy from the light source. The room got cold because it was drawing geothermal energy in order to what? Manifest. So, phenomena rarely happens in a vacuum. Rarely happens in a vacuum. So, that being said, apply the rule of 3 and create your psychic shield. But also, I tend to discourage active communication. It just leads to more problems than it. Am I a hypocrite saying that? 100%, 100%. But still, like. I don't recommend. I don't like. If you want your life to be easier, don't open that door, because then you're gonna have to be like me, and you're gonna have to learn how to work that.
How common is it for a person experiencing negative entities? How common is it for a possession to take place?
More common than either of us want. More common than either.
How many
of us
possessions
want.
have you dealt with? A lot, I imagine.
Honest answer?
Yeah.
You guys, I won't be believed. In the hundreds, and I'm being conservative. But I'm not here to talk about like my whole thing, but like I've made this my life since I was a child, and I'm almost 40 now. So I've seen this year 4 or 5.
Wow. Maybe take us through what is the process that a person goes through from the initial contact with the entity to a possession. What really has to occur?
Okay. Well, like we were talking about earlier, they have to become a vibrational match for the oppressing entity. That's number one. That everything else is conditioned around that, and all phenomena is focused in that direction. Every communication is a manipulation. So what the general process is, they will either invite an entity through like ignorance or moving into a location where it already was, or the entities can either be attracted or invited. So they can be attracted through trauma, they can be attracted through like harm, negative emotions, or you can do ritual to directly invite them. Or like a lot of these unfortunate people, you move into a location where something like that has happened and you're a completely innocent victim to it. Usually it'll start small, the thing's testing the water. It might start with like hearing unexplained knocks in the house. Maybe your faucet will turn on and off. Maybe your lights will start to flicker. Maybe the TV will get wonky. Maybe at a certain time of night you'll hear what sounds like someone calling to you from the room, but like the person's dead asleep. It'll start small like that. Then, and usually around that point, it'll determine out of all the people present who is most affected, and through that determination of who is most effective, who's most affected, they will then go on to the oppression stage for that specific person. At that point, that person will be isolated. The phenomena will be happening usually around them and only them in order to make them look crazy, unless it wants the whole family, which is indicative of a higher level entity. But usually, for the model we're talking about, they would isolate their target, and then the target would the person would start to experience internal hallucinations, negative dreams, negative schizophrenic-like symptoms at the same time as like big things are happening. So this time, instead of my phone being thrown, my wife's cello will be thrown, right? Things will go up a notch, and that will continue and escalate in duration or intensity until either the victim is left unalive by the process, resulting in an energetic expulsion and a release of Loosh or prana. That's one way it'll go. Or if the host is susceptible to the possession, eventually the person will be so broken and unable to fight back that an integration will happen, at which point their body themselves becomes the said quantum anchor, and then manifestations happen through and around the body, usually with the same intent to create as much harm as possible. And that's where you start hearing things like the DeFeo murders. That's where, for those who aren't familiar with the Amityville Horror, look it up. That we don't have time to get into that, but mass murder will happen at a bare minimum, suicide or institutionalization. If it gets real bad, like when it gets bad, it gets real bad. So we don't let it get that bad. Now, have I seen cases at the stage 3 possession reversed? Yes. Can it be done? Yes. Takes skill, takes bravery, takes dedication, and it takes a willingness on both the victim's part and the team's part to fight hard. But it can be broken, and I've seen it time and time again. But that's what it looks like. It's pretty streamlined from low things to medium things with a focus on internal and external oppression, and then they'll integrate and do something to cause as much damage as possible. That answer your question?
A couple more things I wanted to ask you about. You mentioned Nathaniel Gillis's work a few times. He often looks at the sexual encounters, what may be seen as some kind of hybridization attempt, he believes. What are your thoughts on those kind of experiences? And on top of that, the people who have these alien abduction experiences where there's also sexual experiences or some kind of experimentation, and then they're presented with children that supposedly came from them. It's very interesting. What are your thoughts on all that?
That element is probably one of the darkest and the biggest mysteries as to all this. Now, remember how we were talking about how they use bodily fluid, right? As some sort of medium to manifest. Now, okay, I'm just gonna be frank with you. I don't know. Like, I've heard, so that's the honest answer, but here are my theories. I don't know. That being said, what my theories are, I have seen this. I have seen hybridization to the degree that the intent of creating a quote hybrid, if we're looking at this through the parasitic model, is it's an intelligent parasite trying to create a more compatible host.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. It's an intelligent parasite trying to create a more compatible host, and that's through some sort of weird genetic engineering, some sort of eugenic shit that I'm sorry, but like weird. weird stuff. Weird stuff. In my experience, I have not had the experience of interviewing as many people who have been victims of the incubi phenomena as he has. I have, but it hasn't got to the point of like the phantom fetus and the extraction of said phantom fetus. That being said, though, I do think he's onto something, especially when you compare that to the Dybbuk phenomena in Kabbalistic literature. Um, I do think they're onto something there. I think the core purpose. Okay, so one of my gifts is I strip away dogma and I look at like bullet points. And when I do that, what I see here is some intelligence trying to make a more compatible host because I think from their end, this process is probably more difficult than we imagine. If we're why go through the trouble of making a hybrid if it was so accessible and easy to just possess humans?
Right.
Why go through that trouble?
Yeah.
Right?
That's very interesting.
So it must indicate some sort of defect or like something that is hindering their process in order for them to need. You might look at it almost like scuba suits or space suits. You might look at it almost like that.
Right.
I don't know. Beyond that, I don't know.
That's fascinating, man. To close out, in our modern time with access to all the information we have a lot of people that are looking into different esoteric and spiritual concepts. Many people have started channeling, doing various rituals, dabbling in different kinds of magic. I've seen a lot of bad outcomes to this, a lot of interesting outcomes, but in your perspective, should people be messing around with any of this stuff, especially if they don't have a good base knowledge of what they're dabbling with?
No, stay far away from it. Stay away. Enjoy your life. Focus on beauty. Focus on nature. Focus on the goodness in humanity, and don't end up like me. Like, focus on the beauty in life. And if you don't have to, don't. I have to at this point. But like, there's a downside to all this too. Like, the research takes a toll.
So, in your perspective, people shouldn't even be trying to reach out to benevolent spirits for guidance or help with anything.
Okay, that's an interesting discussion because not entirely, right? Not entirely saying that. What I am saying is that don't do it casually and find a teacher.
Okay.
Find someone who takes this stuff seriously. Like almost obsessively. Those are the people that can help you navigate that, because I can't just say like don't reach out for higher guidance. I can't make that blanket statement. But if you want to do it in a way that opens yourself up in the way that this does, find someone who knows the ropes. It doesn't even have to be me. It can be, but like there are a lot. And find someone who vibes with you, with whatever tradition you follow. Like there's crossover with like mystic Christian traditions, Taoist traditions, Zoroastrian traditions, the teachings of Don Juan. Like there's cross-cultural similarities. If you go deep enough, you'll find it. And you'll find it in whatever path you go to. So I would say if you want to explore that area of life, do so in a way that is guided by wisdom. And that requires a teacher.
Well, right on. Aman, this was fantastic. We'll definitely have to do this again. There's so much more we can get to.
I want to. I haven't even showed you all my stuff. So I want to, and we will.
Well, right on, man.
I appreciate your time. Thank you again.
Yeah, before I let you go, remind the audience, if they're looking for more of you, how can they find it?
Right now, there's not much more me to find, but the Shambhala Dojo on YouTube and sifuamanberry, sifuamanberry @gmail.com.
Perfect. Well, thank you again, man. I will be
happy to help.
I'll be in touch, and we'll definitely do this again. And until next time, everyone, have an excellent evening. We'll talk again tomorrow. If you're looking to start your therapeutic microdosing journey, but don't know where to start, especially when looking for the highest quality ingredients, including nootropics, and what you'd expect from a true microdose capsule. Check out our friends at Brainsupreme. They offer the absolute highest quality ingredients so you can start your microdosing journey knowing that you're getting top-notch ingredients. To find out more, visit their website using that link right in the description, and you can get 15% off your entire order. Hello friends, I am so excited to tell you about Independent Media Token. Independent Media Token is a brand new way to show your support for independent media without having to donate a dime. Independent Media Token is a cryptocurrency on the Solana blockchain designed to generate funds to promote and foster the growth of independent content creators, allowing them to engage in their art without having to worry about being demonetized. Through a network of media partners, of which you yourself can become a part of, Independent Media Token's goal is to ensure the powers that be can never cut off all of our areas of funding and censor the only free voices left in the world. Join the movement today. You can pick up Independent Media Token using Phantom Wallet or the Solana wallet of your choice, where you can easily swap your Solana for IMT. Grab some IMT today and remember to always know your team. To learn more, visit independentmediatoken.com or use the link right in the description. Are you and your family prepared for an emergency? Maybe the fake alien invasion? Now is the time to prepare yourself and your family for any event. Check out Prep Starts Now. Their mission is to provide high-quality preparedness products that empower individuals and families to be ready for any situation. They're committed to delivering reliable, trusted gear to ensure your safety, security, and peace of mind in times of need. Their product selection is carefully curated to provide you with the essential gear you need to stay prepared. From emergency kits to tactical tools, every item is chosen for its reliability and practicality. Prep Starts Now understands the importance of family, and their goal is to equip you with everything you need to build a solid plan for your family's preparedness. In today's ever-changing world, being prepared is more important than ever, and Prep Starts Now is here to help you and your family stay ready with quality products and practical guidance. Use the link in the description and get 15% off your order.